Robert Picardo played a surprising number of Star Trek characters besides Voyager's Doctor. Robert Picardo is best known to Star Trek fans as the acerbic yet endearing emergency medical hologram EMH aboard Star Trek, Voyager's USS Voyager. But as any die-hard Trekkie knows, his contribution to the franchise extends far beyond that single role. While his portrayal of the Doctor remains one of Voyager's most beloved performances, Picardo's deep connection to the Star Trek universe saw him embodying a surprising number of different characters, some holographic, some human, and all unmistakably stamped with his signature charisma. From The Next Generation to Deep Space Nine and beyond, Picardo's versatility and quick wit made him a reliable presence across the franchise. He became one of those rare Star Trek actors whose mere appearance signaled something special, whether it was a comedic twist, a technical dilemma, or a deeply human moment hiding beneath layers of sci-fi artifice. His ability to transform between personas while keeping that quintessential Picardo spark intact is a testament to both his acting skill and his long-standing partnership with Star Trek's creative minds. Let's look back at all the roles Robert Picardo played across the Star Trek universe, and why his multi-character legacy is far richer than many fans realize. The Doctor, the role that defined Voyager, there's no escaping that Robert Picardo's defining contribution to Star Trek will always be the emergency medical hologram, or simply the Doctor, from Star Trek, Voyager 1995 to 2001. When Voyager launched, it introduced the first fully holographic main character in the franchise, and it took an actor of Picardo's unique sensibility to make him work. The Doctor began as a literal tool, a photonic emergency backup created for short-term use when a starship's organic medical staff was incapacitated. But throughout Voyager's 7 seasons, he evolved into one of the most human characters on the show. Picardo brought warmth, humor, and surprising vulnerability to a character initially written to be cold and mechanical. His sardonic wit and persistent attempts to define his identity made him the emotional center of many key episodes. Episodes like Latent Image, Tinker, Tenor, Doctor, Spy, and Real Life showcased Picardo's range as he explored the existential questions that come with artificial intelligence and self-awareness. He also became the franchise's comedic heart, especially through his awkward yet touching relationships with crew members like Captain Janeway and Seven of Nine. But what truly makes Picardo's time as the Doctor remarkable is how it opened the door for him to play multiple versions of the same character, and even entirely new ones, within Star Trek's expanding continuity. Louis Zimmerman, the EMH's creator, if the Doctor was the hologram, Louis Zimmerman was the man behind the hologram. In one of Star Trek's most clever metacasting moves, Robert Picardo also portrayed Dr. Louis Zimmerman, the cranky, egocentric scientist who designed the emergency medical hologram program. Zimmerman first appeared in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's episode Dr. Bashir, I presume 1997, where he arrived on the station to create a new long-term medical hologram model. This episode revealed that the Doctor's image and personality were based directly on Zimmerman himself, a man whose arrogance and lack of people skills were, ironically, mirrored in his creation. The dynamic between Picardo's two personas, the Doctor and Zimmerman, became one of the franchise's most fun and thematically rich mirrors. Zimmerman's arrogance was played for comedy, but it also deepened the Doctor's story on Voyager, suggesting that his struggles with empathy and identity were baked into his programming from the start. Picardo would later reprise Zimmerman in Voyager's Lifeline, where the two characters finally met face-to-face via holographic communication. The dual performance stands as one of Picardo's career highlights, a touching, funny, and poignant meditation on creator and creation, with Picardo bouncing between both roles seamlessly. The EMH Mark II, a familiar face in a different program, while Voyager's Doctor was the Mark I version of the emergency medical hologram. Star Trek First Contact 1996 introduced audiences to the EMH Mark I's upgraded successor, the EMH Mark II, also portrayed by Picardo. This brief cameo became an instant fan favorite. In the film, when the USS Enterprise E is invaded by the Borg, Dr. Beverly Crusher activates the EMH to buy time. The hologram appears and deadpans, "Please state the nature of the medical emergency," before reluctantly distracting the Borg with a dry, "I'm a doctor, not a doorstop." It was a classic Star Trek moment, humor amid chaos, and a clever Easter egg for Voyager fans who recognized Picardo immediately. Though it's never explicitly confirmed that the EMH in First Contact is Voyager's Doctor, the implication is that it's another holographic iteration modeled after the same Zimmerman program. That single scene perfectly captured Picardo's balance of comedy and professionalism, cementing him as one of Star Trek's most enduring faces, quite literally, since his character's likeness was canonically deployed across countless starships in the Federation. Cowboy and other holographic personas, the Doctor's holodeck adventures gave Picardo endless room to stretch his comedic muscles. Across Voyager's run, he played numerous alternate personas, each technically still the Doctor, but with entirely new personalities, accents, and temperaments. In A Fistful of Datas, for example, he channels his inner gunslinger in Voyager's holodeck Western adventures, complete with drawl and swagger. In Tinker, Tenor, Doctor, Spy, he lives out power fantasies as everything from a heroic captain to an irresistible ladies' man. These playful episodes not only added humor, but gave Picardo a chance to parody Star Trek's own tropes, captain's logs, romantic melodrama, and all. While these roles within a role weren't technically separate characters, they demonstrated Picardo's chameleon-like ability to reinvent himself within the same performance. Few other actors in Star Trek history managed that level of range while staying rooted in a single character's identity. The Doctor's alternate timeline variants. The Voyager writers also used alternate timelines and realities to showcase Picardo's adaptability. In episodes like Living Witness, he portrayed a darker, more militaristic version of the Doctor in a future where the Voyager crew was remembered as villains. That episode, widely regarded as one of Voyager's best, saw Picardo exploring moral complexity and the distortions of historical memory. His portrayal of the EMH-2, a preserved backup from the ship's past, underscored one of Star Trek's most poignant themes, that even artificial beings can carry the burden of human legacy. Similarly, the finale, Endgame, gave fans glimpses of the Doctor decades later, now married and calling himself Joe. The fact that fans fully accepted this evolution from snarky hologram to family man speaks volumes about how real Picardo's performance made the character feel. Star Trek, Prodigy, The Doctor Returns. 2 decades after Voyager ended, Picardo reprised his iconic role in Star Trek, Prodigy, the animated series aimed at younger audiences. His return as the EMH was both nostalgic and narratively fitting, as Prodigy continued Voyager's legacy through the ship's new crew. In this version, the Doctor acts as a mentor and caretaker, much like he once was to the stranded Voyager crew. Picardo's voice work brought the same warmth and dry humor fans remembered, proving that even in animation, his presence could anchor the story with emotional resonance. The Doctor's reappearance in Prodigy also reminded fans that he remains one of Star Trek's most unique creations, an artificial being whose humanity grew out of observation, compassion, and curiosity. Robert Picardo's Star Trek legacy beyond acting. What makes Robert Picardo's Star Trek journey especially impressive is how deeply he integrated himself into the franchise off-screen as well. He became a passionate ambassador for Star Trek fandom, regularly attending conventions, lending his voice to documentaries, and even writing Star Trek-related content. He also directed multiple episodes of Voyager, bringing his understanding of character and rhythm to the shows.